God has given us His Word as a map to show us the way to life, the way to heaven, the way to eternity. And He said to us in the book of Romans chapter 10 and verse 9, "If thou shalt confess with thy mouth that Lord Jesus, and shalt believe in thine heart that God has raised Him from the dead, thou shalt be saved." In this passage we find the Apostle Paul telling us that the way in which salvation is realized is that when we confess with our mouth that Jesus is Lord and we believe in our heart that He has been risen from the dead. And in the Christian world today, we find that Satan has brought in a deadly deception, a counterfeit belief system, where individuals are saying, yes, I believe, and they confess with their mouth that Jesus is the Lord, and they say, yes, I believe that God raised Him from the dead. And as a result, I'm saved, I'm covered. It doesn't matter how I live, it doesn't matter what I do, because in my heart I believe that He is risen from the dead, and with my mouth I'm confessing that Jesus Christ is the Lord. Many people in the Christian world today don't understand what true belief really is. There's a superficial understanding of belief. And today I want to share with you that to believe is much more than just a confession of our mouth and simply acknowledging in our heart that Jesus is real. In the Bible, we find that belief is much more than intellectual knowledge, because it says in the book of James chapter 2 and verse 19 that even the devil believes and yet he trembles. The devil has a belief in God that is far more powerful than our intellectual belief of anyone in the universe. Satan intellectually knows that God exists. He believes and he understands the power of God. And so if that's the extent of our belief in God, then we don't have a saving belief at all. And so what does it really mean to believe in the Lord Jesus Christ? How can we have a belief that actually brings about the experience of salvation in our lives? In history, we find a story that illustrates what it truly means to believe in Jesus. It's a story about a man by the name of Charles Blondin. He was a tightrope walker, and he was actually the first one to walk across a tightrope across Niagara Falls. And he did this many times. In fact, you can read this in the New Guinness Book of World Records. And one day, Charles Blondin was about to journey across the tightrope across Niagara Falls when a great crowd began to gather. People were watching, they were amazed about what he was doing. Well, one day as he's getting ready to walk across the falls, there was a man in the crowd that began to shout and say, "Mr. Blondin, why don't you take someone with you across the falls?" Mr. Blondin looked at the man and said, "You really believe I can do that?" And the man said, "Sure, I believe, of course. I mean, you've done it so many times. Surely you can take someone with you across the falls." "You really believe I can do it?" Mr. Blondin said. I believe, sure you can do it." And Mr. Blondin said to that man, "Okay, get on my back and we'll try it." And that man who said he believed quickly disappeared in the crowd. He was not willing to get on his back. He said he believed with his words, but not with his actions. But about a year later after this incident, there was a man that actually was willing to get on his back. His name was Harry Colcord. And he got on the back of Charles Blondin and allowed Mr. Blondin to take him across the falls. That man that got on his back demonstrated what it really means to believe in Jesus. Because in getting on the back of Charles Blondin, that individual was essentially putting his life in the hands of another person. You see, that man did not have the ability to get across the falls. He didn't have the training, the skill that was necessary. He couldn't do it by himself. All he had to do was hold on to the one that could take him across the falls. And that's what it means to believe in God. To believe in the Lord is much more than intellectual knowledge. It's much more than just understanding that God is powerful and that He exists and that He was risen from the dead. You see, saving belief happens when we are willing to get on the back of God and allow Him to carry us across the tightrope of life, knowing that He will never fall, He will never fail us, and knowing that He will take us safely to the other shore, and that is the heavenly shore. You see, to believe in Jesus means to put our life in His hands. It's saying, "Lord, I'm not in control of my life. I want You to be in full control. And so I'm going to give You everything about me. I want to trust You with my finances, with my health, with my marriage, with my family, with my relationship. I don't want to be in control any longer, Lord, because if I'm in control, I'm going to fall off the tightrope of life. I'm going to perish. And so I'm going to jump on your back. And all I'm going to do, Lord, is hold on to you, knowing that you will never, ever fail me. That's what true belief is. And so the question I want to ask you, my friends, do you believe in the Lord Jesus Christ? Have you surrendered your whole heart to Him? Is your belief just an intellectual assent to truth? If so, your belief is no greater than Satan's belief. But I want to challenge you today that by faith you would jump on the back of God and you'll let God carry you through your life. That you surrender all to Him in every single aspect, surrendering your relationships to God to be guided by Him, surrendering your what you're going to do after college and after high school and the career that God would have you to pursue and the calling that He's placed upon your life, that you would put this in the hands of God, knowing that His way is the very best way. You see, there's a lot of good things we can do in life, but good is the enemy of the best. And we don't have any time to be doing good things. We only have time to do that which is the best. And only God knows what's best for us. And God has promised that when we trust Him with our lives, when we get on His back and allow Him to carry us through life, that He will give us not only good things, but He'll give us the very best things in every aspect of our lives. And so, do you believe in Jesus? Have you trusted in Him? Have you placed your life in His hands? Perhaps you already believe in Him. Well, our prayer today must be, Lord, I believe. Help Thou mine unbelief. And as we continue to put our life in the hands of God, that belief is going to strengthen. God is going to make it stronger and stronger and stronger to the point that anything is possible when we truly believe in Him. And the Bible tells us in the book of Romans, chapter 3 and verse 31, you believe, the Bible tells us what true belief will result in. Romans 3 verse 31, it says, do we then make void the law through faith? In other words, just because we have faith, does that mean that we can disregard and break God's holy law? The answer, God forbid. Yea, on the contrary, we will establish the law. In other words, the evidence of true belief is a change of life where God brings our lives back into harmony with His holy law, which is His perfect will. And so, do you believe? I want to challenge you today once again to let God give you a saving faith, a faith that works by love, a faith that is demonstrated in the fruit of the Spirit, which is not some outward ecstatic experience, but the fruit of the Spirit, which is a change and transformed life. Today I invite you to get on the back of God, knowing that He will never fail you, knowing that you can trust Him, and knowing that He will get you safely to the other side. All you have to do is hold on to Him as He holds on to you. May God bless you today.